Look alive, sunshine. 109 in the sky, but the pigs won't quit. You're here with me, Dr. Death Defying.
The record felt like these kind of transmissions from 2019, so I thought it would be amazing to do this thing where you have a DJ, and I made this DJ up named Dr. Death Defying. It's actually obviously inspired by the soundtrack to Reservoir Dogs, and there is a lot of Tarantino in this. I had kept thinking, like, what is the iconic phrase that's going to start this album? I was in the art studio, we have this big chalk wall, and I wrote it on there so I wouldn't forget it, Look Alive Sunshine, and I was like, yeah, that's what he would say. You know, if you're on a roller coaster and it's going up that big first peak, he's holding your hand, and then when you get to the top is really when Na Na kicks off, and then he just lets go of your hand, and then you're on this ride throughout the entire record. He handholds you only for, it seems like 30 seconds or a minute, and then you're in it. Na Na is the song that launched it. It was the first laser bolt fired out of the ray gun. It's the momentum that propelled us into recording another song and another song and another song. I don't think that thing changed really at all from like when we first played it. We added a part and that's it. So sometimes you get the magic, but you can't chase that. You know, you gotta kind of work on stuff, and sometimes it may feel like 3 a.m. and you're grinding, but you know, you gotta do that to get there too. The notion of even just calling the song Na Na is very much to me part of the new. It's so base and human and dumb. Like I kind of miss that about rock and roll. I miss that Ramonesiness to it where it's like we're gonna take a dumb phrase like GABA and make that something important.
That song, more than any other, feels like, you know, like a prologue to what you're about to experience. I think that song started at 90, got to 100. Like it didn't start at 0, it like just started at 90.
Totally.
That song's been a year and a half in the making. And it was just one of those things where I was checking my guitar, and I was like, da 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 da. And Jay was like, oh, wait. I was like, no, that wasn't the song. He was like, no, that's the song.
Yeah, it was
I was like,
funny.
okay.
Just the line, I do my talking with a laser beam, is the line that it was in there even in the previous recording, but it was like, oh, we gotta go thematic. It's one of the lines that made us re-record the album, because we hadn't achieved that kind of color on any of the songs, you know? The original title for that song was Trans Am, and that was solely a working title, but it was because I was thinking about Trans Ams, and I bought a Trans Am, and I knew that eventually I was gonna use it in something we were about to do, you know? And so I think about that during the song. To me, the notion of the word sing means so many different things. It could be firing a ray gun, or somebody that's so excited they're yelling out of the window of their apartment. You know, I'd seen lots of imagery in my head when I wanted to call the song Sing.
You know, that's one of my favorite songs. I love the sentiment in the lyrics. You know, use your voice and do something. It's gonna resonate a lot with people.
That's the first time I think we wrote a song based on drums. Yeah, like creating our own loops. Once that beat came about, it really, it showed what the song wanted to be.
To me, when I heard that song, it became apparent in my head that there are no rules. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, we can do anything.
But what was cool, you know, with that one too, like no one had any fear of it.
No.
You know, it was
Yeah.
just like, because it was so, I mean, it was so, I think immediate, like how it made you feel.
And that song is something that we've talked about for years.
We've
Doing
always,
just-
yeah, like
yeah.
we've always skirted with it. Like you know, again,
Yeah.
like Vampires could have a little bit of that feel. To the End on Revenge, and then Sharpest. There's always these songs we've kind of come
Dabble.
close, but never gone.
Put your toes in the water, and then you're like, no, that can work.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah, it's too cold.
Or it's too warm. It's too nice.
Yeah.
Well, on that one, we just jumped right.
Yeah, we did clearly just jump the fuck in.
The only way that song would have worked, you know, the way it does is because we didn't have a rule on what we could write. And, you know, we ended up making like a really catchy, hooky, aggressive, loud dance track, you know, and that was the only way we could have done it.
There's a real vendetta in this song, so you don't really get to hear dance or club music like that has an actual purpose or a vendetta. It's like I'm clearly pissed off about something, but it's great. Like I'm happy about being pissed.
Can I be the only hope for you? Because you're the only hope for me.
That's one song that you know, came from the previous sessions, like Bulletproof Heart. You know, and it was a song that always stuck with us. That song was interesting because when we tried to reapproach it, I think it was maybe Dan, one of the assistant engineers, he had worked on some drum loops and kind of really kind of almost made that song into a dance track, and it was cool because that was part of that experimentation. But I mean, I remember when I heard that version, I almost like put my fist through the screen. I was so bummed because I was like, this isn't the song. And you know, I think we, you know, just from talking about it and working on it, we decided to really make a hybrid. And you know, I think the new version ended up blowing away the old one because you really had everything, and there's a lot of invention, a lot of creativity, you know, to make that song work. And that song was definitely a journey to get right.
Bad news from the zones, tumbleweeds. It looks like Jetstar and the Cobra Kid had a clap with an exterminator that went all Costa Rica and got themselves ghosted, dusted out on Route Guano.
Jetstar and the Cobra Kid were basically the names of Ray's gun and Mikey's gun, and then they started to feel like characters.
Keep your boots tight, keep your gun close, and die with your mask on if you've got to.
I wanted something that sounded like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And it's two characters getting killed, and that's it. I thought that was just kind of fun and abstract and stuff.
Here is the traffic.
From here on in, it really is like a super duper ride, and it kicks off with, you know, the track after it, obviously, which is Party Poison. I'd been wanting to use the phrase Party Poison because I just felt like it was a new thing. It didn't exist, and I liked it. And I liked it so much I named my yellow gun Party Poison. It's actually the anti-party song on the record, but still needed to be there because of that very sentiment. Because I felt like we did still want to remind people, like, yeah, partying's cool, but hard work is great, you know, and making art is great, and just getting up and doing anything is great. You can murder yourself by sleeping in and not doing anything. And then the Japanese woman was a friend of a friend, and that was the bit that made it feel futuristic and new. It obviously recalls the opening of David Bowie's Low, where the Japanese woman speaks for about a minute before the song really starts. It became apparent to me that at the very least I was trying to leave a message in a bottle for my daughter. I want this record to be for her at 15 or whatever. And that's the notion of Save Yourself, I'll Hold Them Back kind of came from. Because it's the song where I want her to look back. If anything ever would have happened, her dad and her uncles is like these guys that were actually kind of not necessarily always cupcakes.
There's an early version of that song where it's
Oh my God!
beatbox drums.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That, yeah.
The demo's great, and it sounds more like the demo, the final version.
The
'Cause
energy
that was
of it, yeah.
the correct key and the correct vibe. So we didn't have any drums at that moment, so Frank had to beatbox it. And it was really fun. We have this really cool demo, and it's acoustic guitar, right?
Yep.
And we just threw it together in like 5 minutes. I remember standing up and going, I think I got something, and we just kind of ran back, and then I just played that opening note, and we looped it, and then that was literally
From
it.
there, the song came in.
We did, and then I was like, all right, then let's have the drums come in, and then it was it's indicative of the whole recording process, because anybody that had an idea would just then grab that guitar and do it.
Yeah, that song creates, when I listen to it, just an insane landscape where it's like you're flying and you can just let go, and it's just like very colorful, and it's another one of those things that we've always wanted a song like that.
That was a song that really helped me realize that we were kind of maybe trying to emulate Magical Mystery Tour with this whole record, and the fact that that wasn't a concept either, but just a loose art experiment. It's the one song where Rob really challenged me to dig deep personally. He's like, a lot of this record are things your views and your opinions of the world. Like, I think it's time to give the audience one about you or your personal life, and it doesn't have to be anything bad from personal life. In fact, I would prefer if it was something nice. So it's definitely about the summer that we spent on Project Rev and meeting Lindsay, and it's also about, in a relative sense, like being a kid and turning your headphones up to to drown out maybe some of the bad noise, and then kind of meeting the people that make you not have to do that anymore, and you can take them off, which is, you know, I think when you find that perfect person, they make the noise go away, which is really great, and that's kind of one of the ideas I want to get across in that song.
You don't believe in God, I don't believe in rock. They don't believe in us, but I believe in the enemy. You don't believe.
I had become really interested because of the colorful nature of the record. I'd become very interested in Holi Festival in India. And so I would go on YouTube and try to find clips of just anything going on at Holi Festival. And there's this one where there's some street performers just playing drums. Again, much like Sing, I wanted those drums. So then we kind of, we made those drums happen. And originally that song had like 4 different vocal tracks going on at once, so we try to retain that as much as possible. A lot of the original takes in there. In essence, it ends up being about God, the caste system, religion kind of keeping a group of people down. It's about you know, the belief of luck or lack thereof, or God, you know, which I think is an important thing to discuss. And it's super badass. So.
Might be everybody's favorite song.
I know, it's my favorite. Whose favorite is it? It's cool to step into new territory lyrically. It's very rewarding. You're like, oh my God, I came up with a new idea. And that song was so important to finish because I had to accept that I had grown up kind of on my own terms. And having a child makes you question, are you growing up or are you growing up the right way?
What I love about it, I mean, when I hear it, it's like a song. It's like self-reflection. Like you just like look back and just, you know, be happy about everything you have and everyone around you.
That was the last one that we finished for the record.
Yeah, it was awesome too, because I think at that time you had gone home to be with your wife because he was expecting kids, you know, and it was a really
It's
crazy
like the
time.
next week, my daughters are born.
Yeah, like the week after, and it was amazing though because I remember what Frank had said once he had heard the song. He goes, "Wow, it sounds like as if I was there." He's like, "I wouldn't change anything on this," which was super crazy, you know.
All right, children. This is Dr. Death Defying signing off.
Good night, Dr. Death. Steve had come up with a lot of that stuff. I think there are some things I wanted him to say, but he got a real feeling for the character after the first bit. And he recorded that at home in a closet, or at a friend's house in a closet, and then sent it to us, and we just popped it in. We got our national anthem on there, which was always the idea, because classically a radio station or a television station traditionally signs off with that. But then that last blast of sound just kind of lets you know that this is what it sounds like to be free. It could have been anybody's anthem who would have done the same thing, would have just blasted that sound. Because that's, to me, what the record is. It's a pure blast of sound that's very free and reckless. And it leads us right into our end credits, which is Vampire Money.
That song was recorded one night. We did maybe 3
Like
takes.
3 takes, yeah.
Yeah,
Third
third
take,
take
that's
was the
it.
magic one. Yeah, the first live recording of a band of our band on an album. It's pure. It's one of the most pure moments on the album.
Yeah, the intro of that song, it's one of the like my favorite things we've ever done in the song. I think it's just a lot of fun.
It's about being asked to constantly do a song for the fucking Twilight movie, and there's no offense to anybody involved, and it's not their fault because I'm sure they didn't even want us involved at a certain point, but other people trying to get you to do stuff, and we didn't want to do it. It just wasn't us. It's not our thing. So I wrote a very real song about it, like, give me some of that vampire money, because that's what it felt like everybody's trying to go for right now. They want that fucking vampire money.
I love what you were saying the other day too about like that's like breaking the fourth wall a little bit.
Yeah.
One time on the record.
And that's what I feel it felt like end credits, because it's like, all right, we've been playing around in this world, and then everybody calls each other by name at the end of this. So it's almost like saying, yeah, we still do realize that we're the 4 guys. And that's what I love about it. It's like saying, you know, we're not taking ourselves so seriously that we have to pretend we're these characters throughout this whole process. And it is perfect end credits movie music to me.